Aloha everyone. So we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the big Lahaina fire. And while it's definitely an emotional time as we remember the tragedy of the event, I think it's also important we take some time to celebrate the progress that we've made in recovery over the past year. So I'm going to get the drone up in the air and we're going to do a full aerial tour of Lahaina town so everyone can see for themselves just how far we've come. Let's go take a look. Just like I've done in my previous aerial tours of Lahaina, I'm going to start on the far south end of Lahaina town in an area called Puamana. And just like always, I'll provide timestamps in the description below to the key neighborhoods and landmarks throughout the town so you can jump forward to any of the areas that are of the most interest to you if you'd like. That being said, I'll be sharing a lot of statistics on the recovery process throughout the video, so the whole video is worthwhile to watch. We're now approaching the part of Puamana that was impacted by the fire, and as you can see, just about all of the lots have been cleared of their ash and debris, with gray gravel spread over the top for erosion control. And as we continue on, we're going to fly right over the top of the far south end of Front Street, where Front Street connects with the Honoapi'ilani Highway. One major sign of progress is the highway itself, which is on the far right-hand side of the screen. You'll see that there are cars flowing through the middle of town on the highway. The County of Maui just reopened the highway on August 1st to through traffic only in an attempt to alleviate some of the traffic congestion that we're experiencing on the west side. We're now flying over the Shark Pit residential neighborhood, and as you can see, almost all of the lots have been cleared of their ash and debris. In fact, at the time of recording, the Army Corps of Engineers had announced that out of the 1,399 residential lots that needed to be cleared, only 29 remain uncleared. That means that 98% of all the residential lots in Lahaina have already been cleared. I personally think that it's impressive progress to have almost cleared all of the lots within the first year after the fire, especially considering how slow things got started. We're now approaching the Lahaina Harbor and about to fly over where the King Kamehameha III Elementary School once was, and as you can see, they are working on clearing that portion of town as well. Starting a new flight here, flying over the top of the harbor, we're coming up on the Banyan Tree right in the center of the screen now. It's been a while since I've done any updates on the Banyan Tree, but as you can see for yourself, there's still plenty of green leaves that are showing, even though a portion of the tree did get cut down that was not able to survive the fire. We're now flying right over the top of the Wharf Cinema Center and coming up on the intersection of Dickinson Street and Front Street. Just beyond that, you can see the concrete walls where the Fleetwoods on Front Street restaurant once was. Of course, the residential areas of Lahaina town were the main priority in the cleanup process, so people could get back to rebuilding their homes. But we're also starting to see a lot of progress in the commercial areas. At the time of recording, out of the 159 total commercial lots that need to be cleared, the Army Corps of Engineers has cleared 69. That means that we're 43% complete with the clearing of all the commercial lots in Lahaina town. We're now coming up on the intersection of Front Street and Papala'ua Street and about to fly over the area that once held the outlets of Maui. By the way, we're going to continue flying north along the coastline until we hit the northern tip of Lahaina town, and then we're going to circle back a little bit farther up the hillside so you can see more of the neighborhoods. We're also going to take a separate flight starting at the coastline at Lahainaluna Rd, following the road all the way up into the Lahainaluna neighborhood at the top of the hill, and then circling back down. We're now flying over the Seamen's Hospital Museum and the Lahaina Residential Condominium Complex, coming up on the Front Street Apartments, and on the top right-hand side of the screen, just past Cannery Street, is my old neighborhood, Kahoma Village. On the left-hand side of the screen, on the ocean side of Front Street, is the Baby Beach neighborhood. Now, one of the major points of contention and uncertainty in Lahaina town is exactly how the oceanfront properties will be handled as far as the permitting process. While the County of Maui is working to expedite just about all the permits for the rebuild of Lahaina town, there's still quite a bit of uncertainty as far as how the oceanfront properties will be handled with new setbacks. We're now flying over the top of the Kahoma Stream, and on the ocean side of Front Street, you see the old Lahaina Luau. On the mountain side of Front Street is the Cannery Mall. This is an area of Front Street that has been open to the public for quite some time. It holds restaurants like Aloha Mixed Plate and Mala Tavern. We're now entering back into another residential area along Front Street that was impacted by the fire. Another major update since my last video, and a good sign of progress in Lahaina's recovery, is that the county recently announced on August 2nd that all the water in the public water systems in Lahaina is safe to drink. This is one of the most important milestones that the community has reached to date, and it does come well ahead of schedule. We're now flying past the Lahaina Roads condominium community on the left-hand side of the screen. If you look to the very top of the screen, you can see Kaanapali along the coastline off in the distance. And we're now coming to the farthest north tip of Front Street, where it connects back into the Honoapi'ilani Highway. From here, we're going to jump across the highway and into the Wahikuli neighborhood. This is an area where you're going to see more and more people have moved back into the community, into the homes that were not completely lost during the fire. And this is also an area where we're going to see more and more construction activity as people start to rebuild the homes that were lost during the fire. We're about to fly right over the top of one of the lots where you can see a brand new concrete slab was poured in preparation for a home. We're coming to the far north end of the Wahikuli neighborhood, so we're going to start to spin around and head back in the other direction. But if you bring your attention to the very top right-hand side of the screen, you'll see one of the temporary housing projects that's currently under construction and being built by the state of Hawaii. This one is comprised of 450 separate units. Now a little bit farther to the south, also right above the Wahikuli neighborhood, is another temporary housing project that's being built by FEMA. That one's called Kilohana Temporary Housing, and it's comprised of 169 1 to 3 bedroom dwellings. And speaking of temporary housing, we recently achieved another major milestone in Lahaina's recovery as Governor Josh Green announced that 100% of the families and individuals that were temporarily housed in hotels have now been relocated to more permanent housing. By the way, don't forget to hit the like button if you appreciate the time and energy it takes to produce these aerial update videos. Also, don't forget to share this video with anyone you know that cares about Maui, as it really is one of the best ways to support the work that I do here. These videos are meant to be a public service to maintain awareness of what is actually happening on the ground in Lahaina. I truly appreciate everyone's support, and I plan to continue producing updates as we rebuild Lahaina together. We're now coming to the end of the Wahikuli neighborhood, so we're going to jump back across the highway to the ocean side, starting once again at the Cannery Mall. Now on the other side of the parking lot, you see 2 construction projects that are in progress. Those are commercial projects that were actually slated to start before the fire even happened. We're coming up once again on the Kahoma Stream, and on the other side of that is the Kahoma Village neighborhood. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that most of Kahoma Village did survive the fire, with the exception of a few townhome buildings and 1 single-family home. Now, all of the ash and debris has been cleared from Kahoma Village, but no construction activity has started yet, as they're still working through the SMA process of the permitting. Okay, from here we're going to jump ahead a little bit, and we'll start a fresh flight starting at the coastline where Front Street meets Lahainaluna Rd. This is where restaurants like Cheesburger in Paradise, Lahaina Fish Company, and Kimo's were located prior to the fire. From here, we're going to follow Lahainaluna Rd all the way up into the Lahainaluna neighborhood. We're about to fly over where the Plantation Inn was once located, and off in the distance, you can see the old Pioneer Mill smokestack. Now, the old Pioneer Mill area was previously being used as a staging area to break down steel and concrete that was being removed from the debris in Lahaina. It looks like they stopped using that area, and I'm not sure if they were just completed with the project or if they stopped using the area out of concern for the smokestack historic site, which unfortunately has been reported to be showing signs of structural damage. The area was also being used as a staging area for the removal of burnt vehicles. According to the Army Corps of Engineers, they've already removed over 3,045 burnt vehicles. That means they're 86% complete with the removal of all the damaged vehicles in Lahaina town. As we continue to fly up the mountainside, this perspective shows just how dry the grass is this time of year in Lahaina. The dry land surrounding Lahaina was definitely one of the contributing factors that caused the fire. And speaking of what or who is to blame for the fire, it was recently reported that a global settlement was reached to pay over $4 billion to the people impacted by the fires, as more than 600 lawsuits have already been filed. Now, the defendants that will be paying those damages do include the large landowners of the land that surrounds Lahaina, as well as the state of Hawaii, Maui County, Maui Electric Company, and Spectrum/Charter Communications. As we reach the top of the burn zone, we're going to spin around and start coming down the hillside, this time following the Kahoma Stream. And as we enter the Kahoma Homes neighborhood, we're going to fly over several homes that did survive the fire, along with 3 lots where you can see the concrete slabs are being poured for the homes to be rebuilt. On the right-hand side of the screen, we're passing the Emerald Plaza commercial area, and as we continue down the hill, we're going to approach a couple homes that are actually nearing completion of the construction of their rebuild. The home in the center of the screen with the gray roof, that one actually survived the fire, so it's not a new build. But just past that, you'll see a lot where the framing has started, and to the left of the screen is a home with a brown roof. That one is a new build since the fire. Just past the bridge, you're going to see the Hoonanea condominium complex on the right-hand side of the Kahoma Stream, and on the left-hand side of the Kahoma Stream is the Opukea at Lahaina condominium complex. Both of those developments have had all of their ash and debris removed. Now on the far left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see the area that held the Mind's Eye Interior building. Straight ahead is the building that held the Choice Health Bar. And we're also coming up on the area that held Taco Bell and the Pizza Hut building. Now this area, again, was a commercial area, and as you can see, there's been good progress in the cleanup of these commercial spaces as well. Okay, from here, we're going to jump back across the highway to the ocean side, and we're going to continue our path to the south. Right now, we're flying right over the top of Waianae Street, but if you look to the far left-hand side of the screen, you will see the Honoapi'ilani Highway, And as I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, the highway through town was recently reopened. While the reopening of the highway will definitely relieve some of the traffic congestion that we're experiencing on the west side of Maui, county officials are reminding motorists that this portion of the highway is meant to be an alternate to Lahaina Bypass and used by through traffic only. We're about to pass over the intersection of Lahainaluna Rd and Waianae Street once again. And if you look straight ahead, the building that's still standing with the red roof is the Catholic Church. Just past that is the Aina Nalu condominium complex. As you can see, the ash and debris has been completely removed from the Aina Nalu community. However, I haven't heard of any updates on the timeline of permitting or reconstruction so far. And speaking of updates on permitting timelines, I haven't received any additional information on exactly how many building permits have been approved in Lahaina Town for several weeks. So if anybody watching this video has official information on the number of permits that have been approved so far, please share that in the comment section below. I'm sure I'm not the only person that's curious to hear those statistics. By the way, we just passed Prison Street and the old prison museum, and we're now coming up on the cultural area known as Moku'ula. We're now coming up on the intersection of Shaw Street and Waianae Street and entering back into the Shark Pit neighborhood. So we're just about all the way back to where we started the video at the far south end of Lahaina. And as I wrap up this aerial tour, I would just like to recap by saying I know we have a long way to go to rebuild Lahaina Town, but I think it's very impressive how far we've progressed over the past year. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to all the contractors and crew that have been working so hard to clean up our town. And to all of you that have made it this far in the video, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for continued updates on Lahaina's recovery, and we'll see you on the next video. Aloha.